Hi there and welcome to Central Texas Gardener. I'm Tom Spencer. The fastest way to learn how to garden is from fellow gardeners. So today we preview the Travis County Master Gardeners Tour, where you can meet hands-on gardeners and attend workshops at each site. This year's theme is Gardening for Wildlife. Along with tips for plants and design, you'll see how to attract wildlife even in drought. Let's start out by visiting one of the gardens.
Lindy McGinnis set out to attract wildlife when she renovated her 40-year-old yard. It's been a 10-year process and she's not finished yet. The starting point for her design was that she and husband Larry wanted to share their homestead with wildlife of all kinds. Lindy became a master gardener to learn more about the plants she wanted to entice them.
I just wanted to be more involved with the gardening community. I wanted to learn more about gardening, and it's a great organization for doing both. If I'm not working, I want to be outside. I want to be in my garden or any garden.
In back, old trees dominate, where Lindy's counted 50 bird species and watched many nestlings grow up.
Whenever I see something new, it's just like a success to me.
They built a deck to watch the birds, armadillos, foxes, and other wild friends that call on them. Cow panel makes it easy to see what's going on below, even while sitting. They did want to keep the deer out in order to grow vegetables, as well as deer tender plants that attract beneficial insects. Again, they chose cow panel. They wanted to stay connected to their neighbors and maintain the park-like atmosphere. Also, little animals can scurry through on their rounds. In front, Lindy went for a manicured look, to show that you can have a beautiful front yard that's wildlife friendly too.
I wanted the front yard to be beautiful and interesting to me and to the neighbors. The neighbors stop all the time and they want to talk about certain plants, and they're always very pleased with the fact that it's not traditional, but it's still really pretty and interesting.
Now a master naturalist, Lindy wants to give back to the wildlife that called this street home too.
With all of this development, we've sort of taken away their habitat. So I wanted to provide a yard that was friendly and attractive to wildlife. So I've tried to plant plants that attract butterflies, that attract birds. I try to provide water and shelter and a yard with no chemicals so that they're happy here and raise their families. There are plenty of native plants that are happy both in shade and sun, so I've just tried to work with what I have, using as many natives as I can to provide food and color and interest in both shady and sunny areas. Let's say that my goal is for it to be attractive to wildlife all year round. Be it through flowers, be it through berries, be it through seed heads on grasses.
Lindy also attracts with her creative spin on homemade projects.
I want the garden to be fun and whimsical, and sometimes the best way to do that is just find what I have, you know, in the garage and take it into the garden.
She welded a hummingbird feeder stand herself. She used leftover cow panel to make trellises to plant with vines for wildlife food.
I see a need. We try to find a way to do it with materials we have on hand. Try to do it in a way that's not terribly expensive, that's easy to accomplish. This has been a 10-year project, and I think the wildlife, the interest in wildlife has come. I've always been interested in wildlife, but bringing wildlife into the garden has evolved over the years. So while I was trying to develop a beautiful garden, I learned along the way that that the garden is more beautiful when there are butterflies flying, when I see lizards in the yard, when I have spiders in the yard, when I see animals bringing their raising their young in the yard. That just makes it all very special.
Well, that beautiful garden is going to be one that you'll be able to tour on the Inside Austin Gardens tour that's coming up on October 24th. Here to tell us more about it is Rebecca Matthews, and Rebecca's with the Travis County Master Gardeners Program, and it's great to have you on Central Texas Gardener. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Well, this is, you know, there are a lot of different garden tours out there, but this one is distinctive on a couple of fronts, it appears like.
Yes.
They're not only are these all real gardeners, you know,
Yes,
they do the gardening themselves, right?
Right. They did it all themselves.
And
all
then,
owner done.
And then, on top of being able to visit these spaces, there are going to be lots of really educational programs going on in each of the spaces, right?
Yes, we have speakers at every place, sometimes 2 and 3 in a day, and we're going to have tables set up also.
Okay.
So you can go and get information,
Perfect.
different tables.
Well,
So.
and this is a real gift to the community, I think. The Travis County Master Gardeners Program has done so much to educate gardeners. This is going to be a great hands-on opportunity, I think, for folks to meet gardeners and tour wonderful spaces. Let's just give people the basic information before we begin.
Okay.
On top of being a great event, this is a bargain event.
Yes, it's $10 for all 6 gardens, or if you just have time to go to one, it's $5.
Okay.
And go to InsideAustinGardens.org and you can download the brochure and get all the information, directions, and the speaker list.
Okay.
And you just go to the first garden and pay there, and you're just going to get stamped. And then
Okay.
you can go from there to see all of them.
As easy as it could be. And again, it's going to be on the 24th.
Right, from 10 to 4 on
Okay.
the 24th
Wow.
of October.
Okay, so no excuses, folks. It's a very easy process.
Okay.
Now, we just saw Lindy's beautiful garden. Tell us what's going to be happening in Lindy's garden educationally.
Well, you're going to, Wildlife Austin is going to have a table set up talking to people about gardening for wildlife. Alice Nance is going to do 2 talks about gardening for wildlife there.
Okay.
And Patty Lander is going to give a talk on cool season vegetables.
Oh, cool.
So, and all the plants at all the gardens are labeled, so there's going to be no questions about it. But we're going to have master gardeners walking around. Everybody's going to have on a white shirt with a name tag for any questions that you might have. So, plenty of educational opportunities.
Well, that's great, because that's one thing that does happen at any garden tour is somebody sees a plant, they have to go hunt somebody down. Sometimes it takes a great deal of time, so that's a very thoughtful thing. Let's take a look at the next garden that's on the list, and this is owner Gail Sapp. And this is a really exuberant space. I mean, talk about a plant-focused garden. This is one with lots of big, bold forms and textures.
It is. She said that she loves Texas gardening because she loves everything big and bold, and you can tell it from this yard.
Yeah.
It is just lush, lush, lush. And I love that she only has like a grass pathway in her back that she uses as the path, and so very little mowing back there.
Sure, just the pathway itself.
Yes, just the pathway.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yes, very sustainable.
Well, I love the use of the plants again in this. Particularly, they have some gorgeous palms in this that really play off against the silvery palms against the greens of the plants, and lots of bold texture, sculptural form plants.
Yes,
really cool.
It's amazing. I want to say also, all of these yards are certified wildlife habitats from the National Wildlife Federation. They've all been certified, so it's if you want to learn how to garden for wildlife, this is the place to go.
Okay.
They're all going to have it.
Okay, well that's terrific. So and so many different styles of garden too, which is nice because you have all these different garden styles, but they all are wildlife friendly.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
so
it's great.
That's super cool. Now, what's going to be happening at Gail's garden?
At Gail's, Wizzy Brown is going to give a talk on insects.
Okay.
So
again, a different example. Each place will have a different array, and they can learn all about that on the website. So,
yes, definitely. You can get the list of the speakers on the website.
Perfect.
Okay.
Jessica Winslow is another one of the gardens that's going to be on tour, and this is one with lots of fruit and lots of food production, right?
Yes, she has olive trees. It's amazing, and I love that her grass is buffalo grass. So if anybody's interested in learning how, what buffalo grass looks like in a real yard, it's an excellent. And her yard is so natural. It's just it's like walking through the woods, and she has little area where she likes to meditate, and she has a little pond that's absolutely full of tadpoles.
Yeah,
and
lots of wildlife in the
Yes.
pictures of this garden because you know, you get the tadpoles and all the other visitors, the feathered as well as the scaled, I'm sure.
Yes. And Jane Tillman is going to be there talking about backyard birding.
Perfect.
And there's going to be Travis Audubon has a table set up there for any questions about birding that you might have. So
Okay.
it's great.
Yeah, and every gardener I know is at least a beginning birder.
Yes.
Every gardener.
We all love birds. But
Right, it's
yeah,
an important part of the garden.
It is.
The wildlife to me is one of the most beautiful things about it. Butterflies and birds
Yes.
and the lizards. It really makes a garden complete.
It does. It's a reason to go out there.
The next, speaking of butterflies and birds, the next garden, Eleanor Pratt, this is a true butterfly haven, isn't it?
It is. Butterflies love this yard. She has planted so many plants. She's got a lot of sun in her yard, and she has filled it with butterfly and hummingbird loving plants. And you will see a lot of them in that yard.
Yeah.
It's great.
Bring your camera, in other
Yes.
words.
Yes, because you'll have an opportunity. And and also at her yard, we're going to have a talk about attracting butterflies and hummingbirds, the plants that do that, and repeat bloomers. So if you're interested in a lot of blooms in your garden, you'll get some information there.
I think that's great, and one of the things I like about what I'm seeing in this garden is that she has the flowers for the butterflies, but also the foliage for the larvae.
Yes.
Which, you know, and making it a complete package for the butterflies in a
Right,
sense. You know, a real buffet.
Yes, you got to feed the caterpillars to get the butterflies.
Yeah.
So it's great.
So you'll learn all about that in this particular garden. Now, you can't have an Austin garden tour without a little South Austin looking funk. Right?
Cheryl's yard.
Yeah. Well, and this is Cheryl Govea.
Yes.
And this, to me, just says Austin.
I love her yard. She's an artist, and it shows. It just reflects throughout her entire yard. She's got blue bottles, and she's got chickens. And one thing I really love about Cheryl, though, is she actually pulled up the concrete on her driveway and put in decomposed granite so that she'd have permeable space, and her walkway also.
The trees appreciate that, I'm sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And if you are into art of any kind or whimsy in your garden, you will love her yard.
I love whimsical gardens, and I
Yes.
love gardens filled with all sorts of color, natural as well as man-made.
Yes,
And
and
this
you'll
garden
find it
seems to
there.
be filled with that, which is really wonderful.
It's going to be wonderful. And at her yard, you're going to get to hear her talk about herbs by
Okay.
Vicki Blockman. And
Terrific.
Yes, because a lot of people are gardening for
Sure.
their food nowadays,
right.
and so it's gonna
Herb
be
gardening is always important, and that looks like a great place to go. Maybe just sit on the rocking chair and hang out for a while, because I saw a really beautiful image of a sitting area there as
Yes.
well, where you can sit back and enjoy all of that art. So terrific. The next garden is Randy Case, and this is you call this a very architectural garden. Tell me why you say architectural.
It is it's got lots of lines and architectural elements to it. Like in the front yard, he's made boxes as planters, and in the backyard, he's got all the lines for his beds and his patio area.
Right.
And he's got architectural elements hanging on his fence. And and he's got a huge mirror that he framed that I just love that idea.
Yeah.
And Randy has a mix of lots of different plants in his yard. It's very diverse, so I think you're going to get a lot out of that yard.
I like some of the architectural plants that he uses. I've talked about my agave problem before on the show. People know about it, but I can't not mention the fact that those agaves go so well in those kind of bold places like that.
They do.
So.
And he's got a lot of that. And at his yard, you're going to get to hear Kelly Bender speaking
terrific.
on
Yeah.
Gardening for Wildlife. And the plant clinic is at his yard.
Okay.
So if you have any plant questions,
that's a good idea.
any plant problems, bring them. During pictures, bring your plant, whatever.
Bring the corpse.
Yeah. After our drought, we got a lot of that.
Yep,
Yeah.
you killed that one.
Yeah.
Hopefully the diagnosis will go a little bit further than that. I'm sure it
Yes.
will, right?
Let's hope. Yes.
Okay.
So.
And all of this goes to benefit the Travis County Master Gardeners program, I'm taking it.
Well, Basically, it's the cost of $10 is just covering our cost of it.
Yeah, that's not really covering a whole
Right.
lot.
Yes, we're a nonprofit, so anything we make pretty much goes right back into the community.
Sure.
So.
Well, again, it's a wonderful opportunity to get out there. And again, the best thing about garden tours is hanging out with the gardeners themselves. And as we noted at the beginning of the interview, these are all folks who get out there and do it themselves.
Right, and they will be there to answer questions, talk to people.
And so this is, again, something that you need to put on your calendar. And, 6 hours is the total time, 10 to 4.
Yeah, 10 to 4.
An hour
October
per
24th.
each garden.
There's plenty, and they're close enough together that you can easily make them.
Okay, so again, people can learn more about it by going online, and the website one more time for us, if you don't mind.
InsideAustinGardens.org.
Okay, well, this is your opportunity to hook into the Travis County Master Gardeners program. And just a quick word about the Master Gardeners program itself, because this is something I really want to tout. So many people that I know have really become gardeners. Really great gardeners, by the way, as a result of this program. So just give us a quick word about that.
Well, we're a nonprofit group, and we go through training, 50 hours of training, and then you have to do volunteer work, and you have to do continuing education training. And we are trained on horticulture to help people on their horticultural questions.
Right.
So it's a great program. I highly recommend it. And you can just go to our website and look it up.
Okay.
It's great.
Okay. Well, again, Travis County Master Gardeners is the program, and InsideAustinGardens.org, right?
Yes.
All right. Again, thanks so much for being on the program, Rebecca.
Thank you.
And coming up next, it's Daphne Richards with Down to Earth, and Daphne Richards is going to be out on the tour. You can meet her as you're driving around. Quick mention, too, that there's going to be plants for sale on the tour. So check now with Daphne Richards.
Hi, and welcome to Down to Earth. Our question this week is on toadstools. You might be seeing those now in your lawn or your landscape because of the rain that we had back around the autumnal equinox. They might be popping up. What those are is a fungi, but they don't need to be treated with any sort of fungicide. They are relatively harmless because they're living on dead and decaying plant matter. They're not living on your living grass. They aren't really causing too much of a problem. So instead of applying a fungicide, what you need to do is just kick them over with your foot or pull them out and toss them in your compost pile. But again, they aren't really causing much problem. If those caps are staying like a little umbrella and they haven't opened yet, the spores haven't been released. But there's not much you can do about these because the spores are pretty much in the air and in the soil, and they only pop up when we're getting too much rain. Our plant this week is purple coneflower, or Echinacea purpurea. It's a great plant. It's a perennial. It's wonderful in the landscape. They're beautiful. You can get it in many different varieties and colors, anything from a lime green to a bright white. These plants will range in different size depending on the cultivar. The flower stalks are definitely 3 feet tall. The plant doesn't get that tall. And then they also do spread anywhere from 2 feet to 3 feet. So they will need to be divided in the fall. More on that in just a second. To do in your garden this month, if you're out there shopping for annuals and perennials still, they've been on the shelf for a little while now, so they may be getting a little bit leggy. So you want to make sure to try to choose stocky plants if you can. Those plants may have been growing close together and stretching a little bit, trying to find some extra light to stay healthy. And those plants will stay kind of leggy, and if you put them out in your landscape and they're tall and thin, they'll tend to pop over and maybe fall over in your landscape. So you want to watch out for that. It's also time, if you have them from last year, if you were lucky enough to keep your poinsettias alive, it's time to force them back into bloom if you want to. And in order to do that, they do need to have long nights. The best way to do that is to put them in a closet and put them in there when you come home from work in the afternoon around 5 o'clock. Leave them all night, but you do need to take them out of that closet for the day and put them in some bright sunlight inside your house. Because they are tropical, you don't want to put them outside at this time of year. And also Christmas cactus. If you have those, you can force those in a closet, but you can also just leave those in a dark room that you don't go in much at night because they aren't as sensitive to the length of the day as your poinsettias are. To send us a question for our question of the week or to get more tips for your garden, visit klru.org/CTG.
Thanks, Daphne. Now let's check in with John Dromgoole for Backyard Basics.
Hello gardening friends, welcome to Backyard Basics. Well, vegetable growing is as big as ever. I've never seen so many people going out and growing vegetables. A lot of good reasons for that. Food quality. You're not going to find better quality, better taste, freshness than the produce that you grow in your own backyard. But not everybody has a backyard, and sometimes light is limited, and so we look for alternatives. People are living in condos these days, you know, so there isn't a whole lot of place to grow vegetables, maybe on your roof. But if you don't have any of those things, then this right here is called an EarthBox. This is one of the container gardens, been around a few years actually, that you can grow a lot of vegetables or herbs in. Now there's several components to this. If you overwater it by mistake, just for example, there's a hole right here, and I thought I'd show you that now before I cover it up. And any water that gets to be too high in there flows out. It's an easy one. And also, if you're going to move it around, there's some casters on it. These little casters go on the bottom of it, make it easy to move around once it's filled or got stuff growing in it and the light's moving. Then this goes on the bottom. This right here is the way that we keep the soil out of the water. So this goes on nice and snug in there, but it's a few inches above the bottom. So the plants or the soil isn't really sitting there, although we will add some soil to the sides to help siphon it up. Now, one of the other things is you water from above. And so you take this watering tube and stick it in that hole right there. It goes all the way down. That's where you put your water in. And so that makes it easy. One of the other things is you need a good potting soil. And so I mixed this one up myself. This is some compost and some perlite and a little bit of vermiculite and a product called core fiber. Now this is the husk from the coconuts, and it's a peat moss replacement. I like it a whole lot. It's a very sustainable product. And so this is a real nice light mix, and that's what goes into the corners first so that the water is siphoned up into the growing medium, and that's what makes this so darn neat. It's easy to water, it's a limited space, and it can go in front of a window, and you can grow some fantastic tomatoes in here in the summertime too. You can grow bell peppers, cucumbers. There's a frame that goes on the back of this thing, and this will support many of those plants in this small space. So that's really neat. When you put your soil in there, the product comes with a little bit of dolomite, and this is a source of calcium and magnesium. And then you will put in the soil in the middle about 3 cups of an organic fertilizer, and then you've got it set up. It's ready to grow. And so one of the things that we do once the soil is in there very nice is to put this little cap on there. This little cap goes from edge to edge, and in the cap what we'll do is we'll cut some little squares. That keeps it from evaporating too quickly, and then we put the plants in those little squares. For example, in the cool months we might grow some cabbage. Well, we'll be able to put 6 big old cabbage in here. I mean, this is a nice container to grow that much cabbage, so you'll have 3 across the front and 3 across the back, and we'll grow some nice cabbage in there. You can also grow lettuce in there. About 6 lettuce plants would go into this and fill out those heads very nicely. You'll have fresh lettuce outside all the time. So that's another thing that you can grow in this real intensive style. So even if you have limited space, you're going to be able to grow a whole lot of vegetables in there. And spinach, that's another one that can go into this thing. And when you're growing spinach in here, you can put 10 plants in there. Of course, you know that spinach cooks down rather easily, so you need a whole bunch of them. So you would put 10 plants of spinach in this thing. I think that's a really nice, intense way of doing it. You can mix it with other vegetables. I would put herbs in there too. If you've got all the vegetables you need, but you don't have enough herbs, an assortment of herbs, oregano and thyme. And this is sorrel. I really like the lemony flavor of sorrel. Makes a great sorrel soup, and it's a very pretty plant. So an assortment of herbs, it would be just right for in here. Maybe your cilantro in the cooler months. This is a good place to grow it. So the EarthBox, a nice little way of growing a lot of vegetables in your home garden. It's real easy. You can do it organically. It's very mobile, and an easy one for the new gardener. If you're just starting out, or you have limited light space and you want to grow a few vegetables like the whole country is doing right now, then you're going to use something like the EarthBox. Now you can find these things mail order, but look around locally. I'd prefer to buy locally than sending stuff in, but if you're out there viewing in an area of Central Texas, well then you can't get it at a store, go ahead and order it online. It's called an EarthBox, and it's a very effective way to grow vegetables. For Backyard Basics, I'm John Dromgoole. I'll see you next time.
Check out more tips, online video, and our weekly blog at klru.org/CTG. Next week, see how you can keep your yard from going to the dogs. Until then, I'll see you in the garden.
klru.org/CTG. It's where Central Texas gardeners can find tips, recipes, and anything they may have missed on the show. Keep up with the producer's garden on the new CTG blog and join the conversation by posting your own comments, questions, and garden pictures. klru.org/CTG. Central Texas Gardening Online.
Visit klru.org/CTG to learn more about today's program, upcoming events, and to sign up for our electronic newsletter. Check out John's how-to tips and visit Trish's Corner for ideas inside and out. Get growing at klru.org/CTG.